It's a pleasure to welcome multiple-time winner from the PGA Tour to the program, Peter Joseph Malnati. Peter, how you doing? How's everything going?
It's going great, Matty. How you doing, man?
Great. Are you home now, or where are you at? It looks, or an Airbnb, or what's the story for you?
Yep, Airbnb in Charlotte right now. Just got an afternoon pro-am time this morning, so just hanging out of the house. My family is back home in Knoxville because Hatcher is really into school at the moment, which is awesome. We want to, like, if he's excited about school, we don't want to take him away. So they're gonna, we are gonna take him away from Thursday and Friday though. They're traveling. We live a little less than 4 hours from Charlotte, so they'll be driving over after Hatcher's school day today. So they'll be back with me this evening, which I'm super pumped about, and then we'll have an awesome week here in Charlotte.
Who is driving over? Is your wife Alicia driving over alone with them for 4 hours and two boys in the car seats? That seems like a dominant or a pretty challenging 4 hours before.
Yeah, so we definitely decided when Dash was born, that we weren't doing any more trips where it was just Alicia, the boys, and I. Because that's just like when I'm out on the course for, some of these days, especially if you consider like a weather delay or anything that can happen. That means Alicia is alone with both the boys for a long time, trying to just sort out life in a new city away from home. So we always either bring my mom, who's amazing, or we hired a nanny. So we bring one or the other. And this week it's my mom. She's coming over. And so she'll be either Alicia or my mom will be playing referee in the car while the other one's driving safely. So yeah, we got a good system going. It's working.
How fast is Dash?
That was when he was first born, and I told I actually just played with him last week, 2 weeks ago in New Orleans, but I told Russell Knox, my good buddy on tour, I said, he's born, his name's Dash, and he looked at me real serious and said, what if he's slow? I said, then he's going to be a slow kid named Dash, and that's it. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about that because Hatcher looks like me. So our 4.5-year-old looks like me. Dash looks like his mom, which is good for him. But they both have my energy. So they're gonna pay me back for what I did to my parents as a kid. It's already happening. I can tell. But they both have my energy, and Dash is full speed all the time. He's been up on 2 feet now for 2 or 3 months. And he like my walking pace, I can barely keep up with him. And, his legs are 18 inches, 16 inches long, and I can't keep, so he's going to be fast. I'm not worried about that.
That is awesome. So, dude, you are an anomaly in so many ways.
Sure.
When you think about the success you're having right now in 2024, in some ways you're a throwback, kind of a putt for dough, because, and I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. When you look at your performance stats, right, off the tee, accuracy, etc., I mean, with all due respect, you're short and you're crooked. That usually is not a formula for success. But strokes gained putting, yeah. Come on.
I used to be short. Now I'm long and crooked. Like, I don't know if the stats back that up, because every time I look at my stats, they don't. Have me below average driving distance. I hit it past everyone I play with now. Like, every time I play with someone, I hit past them. Like, maybe not. I play with Jake Knapp in somewhere, and he hits it pretty far. I guess.
Driving distance, you're 134th on tour. So if the distance is new, it's probably not going to be reflected yet.
Well, I've been bombing it for a little while, but my problem is I hit 3 trees around that knock it backwards. I think that skews my average. Because I'm long and crooked. And by long I mean I'm long compared to where I was 10 years ago. I think I would say in terms of all the swing speed, ball speed stuff, I've got to be right on average on tour now, maybe a tick above. But I still don't hit it straight enough to take advantage of that. But the week I won a few 6 weeks ago now, the Valspar Championship, that's a tight little dog-leggy golf course that actually is not overly short. Like it's it's an old school course that winds through trees, but it's decently long. I was fourth in the field in strokes gained off the tee that week, and
That's it. Preach it. I like that.
That's the reason I won the tournament, because I've always said this, like, if I can get my strokes gained off the tee to 0, so just neutral, I'll have a long, successful career, contending in tournaments on the PGA Tour, because I'm good enough everywhere else. You can't recover from losing, basically a shot around off the tee, the 4 shots a tournament off the tee, which is what I've done for the last 4 or 5 years.
What did you do then, Peter? How did you gain more space? How did you get more width in your swing so you could generate more speed? What changes did you make?
Honestly, it was never one thing. Like, it was never like this. Like, I will say, I gained. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe this, because I'm about to tell a story that means it was one thing in the beginning. Like, I gained like 6 or 7 miles an hour ball speed in a day, and I still remembered it was the Monday of it was the Sunday before the Players Championship in like 2016 or 17. I was still banging drivers at 160 ball speed, like not like very like bottom 2% on tour for sure. And I was working with a coach at the time named Mitchell Spearman. Mitchell had me do this drill. He's like, dude, you never get to your right side. You're always on your left side the whole time, so you never have any like power to transfer because it's always left. So he had me do this drill with my driver where he's like, I want you to, it's a basic drill, I just want you to take your backswing, and in your backswing, I literally want you at the top of your swing to have this moment where your left foot comes completely off the ground, and then as you transition, tap it back down and go. And there's the awkwardness of feeling something different for the first 10 swings, but by like the 15th swing doing that, I was 6 miles an hour faster that day.
Whoa.
Like that day. So that was the moment. But then from there, I've gone from 166 ball speed or so that day, and that was just on the range. It wasn't on course, so I wasn't like I gained those 6 miles an hour instantly, like to play with. But from that day, I had like the foundation from a swing perspective that I could generate more power. And then since then, I've it's a combination of a lot of things. A combination of time in the gym, where you can see these muscles, right? Everybody like
yeah, you're ripped.
Yeah, it's just fact. I mean, it is what it is. So, but it's a combination of like putting on some good golf strength, and then just a steady progression of like, I think improvements in my swing have helped me hit the ball more out of the middle of the club face, which is a nice thing. And then one thing that I think might be underestimated is the fact that I'm steadily and progressively become more comfortable on tour, even if I'm not more, I haven't been more successful in town, but I'm more comfortable. I feel more secure. And I think it's just a maturity thing too, that I'm like, I'm less concerned over my shots than I used to be, because I know now that some of them are going to stink. Some of them are going to be great. The weeks when you stink, you're going to miss the cut. The weeks when you're great, you need to be ready to take advantage of it. And so I swing with a little more freedom than I used to. And I think that is an underestimated source of speed, to just, know that. Whereas, before I still absolutely hate missing cuts. I hate playing poorly. In my career, I've missed more cuts than I've made, which is, I find to be an annoying stat, because I hate every one of them. But I also know that a missed cut doesn't define anything about who I am or my life. And so I'm not like, I hate them, but I'm not scared of them. And that's a difference that from, where I was 6-8 years ago, where I was like scared of a missed cut because I felt like it defined me. And so I think there's a little bit of freedom in there too that comes from that's valuable for speed.
Where we're talking about this and talking about what you're working on to improve in your game and what have you, I was starting down the road too of giving you praise where you deserve it. Second in strokes gained putting, which is why I was saying it's kind of almost like a throwback putt for dough situation with you. That is a remarkable stat. And the fact that putting prowess is something that you've hung on to for many, many years, and it is a formidable weapon for you. Could you talk to us about that? And is putting for Peter Malnati also a window into the soul?
That seems maybe. I hope parenting's a window into the soul more than putting.
Me too.
But I get a great kick out of this, and I don't know I don't know if this is ever true. Obviously, I never met Ben Hogan, but I think a lot of people carry this sort of mindset that I heard that he said once that putting should only count half or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people carry that mindset because I always hear people say stuff to the effect of, I played amazing, I just didn't putt very well, or I played amazing, I just couldn't get a putt to go in. And my response to that is always, that's roughly half of the game. Like, it's roughly half of the game of golf. Like, if you figure on a good day on the PGA Tour, you're going to hit 60, 60 on a great day, 64 on a good day, 69 on a bad day, 73 shots. And you figure roughly on an average day, 28, 29 of those are going to be putts. It doesn't make sense to me to ever say, oh man, I played great, but I putted badly. Like, putting is half of playing. Like, you could say I hit it great and I putted badly, but if you played great, that would have to include putting. And I've always sort of had that perspective of, the 300-yard drive and the tap in you make after you miss the 4-footer both count as one shot toward your total. And so, if you can avoid having to tap in after missing the first putt, that's a shot you get to take off your score. And so that's always been something that I've known is a strength for me. Yes, if it was a window to the soul, I don't know. That seems a little overly poetic, but what I will say is, I think despite the fact that everyone who knows me knows that I'm very socially capable. Like, I guess the more accurate way of saying that is I talk a lot. Everyone who knows me knows that, but my actual, like, the place that I go to, like, restore who I am is either, like, alone time with my family, which is not very restorative at the moment with a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, but alone time, quiet time by myself is, like, where I go to, like, restore my spirit, my soul. And I can have that on a putting green. Like, I can have not so much on the PGA Tour usually because it's crowded, but when I'm home, I can go to a putting green with a putter and one ball, and for an hour or 90 minutes, I can be so present, so content. And that's been always something that I've really enjoyed. And so I think putting, I think there is something, there is something kind of poetic about that for me, that I've always enjoyed that peacefulness and the challenge of working on it, and the creativity and the feel and everything that goes into being a good putter has always been something that sort of resonates with me. So yeah, putting is a big part of my success. And
Peter, that's what's different about you guys that are great putters. That's what's different about you guys, is that you guys that are great putters, by and large, you don't overcomplicate it. And somehow that part of the game that is, Gary Player himself told me you relive your sins over a 3-foot putt in a major championship, right? And so for the rest of the world that are dealing with all sorts of demons that choose to rear up from the ground when they're on a putting green, you guys somehow are floating on a cloud. And I always try to ask the question. I got to take a break here, so I'm not going to have you jump in just yet, my friend. I always ask the question, great putters, give me your philosophy on putting. And usually it's like, hey, it's my solitude. It's where I find myself. That's why I asked you if it was a window into the soul. And then I say, well, try to explain it. They go, the best way to do it is just go out there, look at it, and hit the putt, get it to the hole. I'm like, the vast majority, I think that's why I think putting somehow is a gift. Do you like the sound of that, Peter, when you're introduced now as a guy? You've won on the PGA Tour, and that was a distinction of honor, no doubt. But to be a multiple-time winner on the PGA Tour, did you feel like it validated something in any way, either to the public or to yourself?
Of course it's an amazing feeling to win on the PGA Tour. And it was, the first time I won back in 2015, I really felt like it happened. I use this phrase, like, happened by accident, which isn't a good, accurate description. But, like, I didn't start the week back in 2015 at the Sanderson Farms Championship thinking, this is my week. I can win this tournament. I'm gonna go out and do my best, and I can win this tournament. Like, I was just like, I'm back. It's the second event, or maybe third event of my second season on the PGA Tour. My first season on the PGA Tour hadn't really gone that well, and I was just thinking, let's try to build some positivity. Let's try to bank some points, and let's go. And we had crazy weather. I think I had 27 holes to play still in the tournament by the end of the day on Sunday. And so I had I played 27 holes on a Monday morning, or not Monday morning, all day Monday. I played 27 holes at Country Club of Jackson and went on to win the tournament. And it just all it was like, I mean, until I was maybe on the 12th hole of the final round, it still never occurred to me that I might win that tournament. Like, it really didn't. I was just really hopeful to bank some points and get off to a good start after having kind of a rocky rookie year. My first time on tour 2 years before that. And so, when it all came out and I played such beautiful golf, those 27 holes on Monday, and I won the tournament, I was like, wow, like, that's really, really crazy. And then, even though I haven't had, any level of consistent success since then, between then and now, I really I've been doing the changes in the golf landscape, how much more competitive it has gotten, the creation of this new signature series of events on the PGA Tour, all of that combined with kind of where I am in life now as, relative to the PGA Tour, an old guy. I feel super young, but relative to the PGA Tour, I'm an old guy. My sons now, I've seen the sacrifices my wife and family make to support the lifestyle that I love, getting to play. I really started to dig in and get pretty motivated, in the fall last year. I don't want to just, scrape by and keep my PGA Tour card, which is a great accomplishment, a really great accomplishment to do. It's not easy, but I don't want that to be what I'm content with. I want my kids to see me work hard and be great. And so I made some changes this year. I went and saw a new coach because, as you pointed out very accurately, I have not driven the ball well enough to be successful on the PGA Tour in ever. And so went and saw a new coach the week of the LA Open. We've been working together now for, what is that, maybe 2.5, 3 months. Saw some immediate progress, really dug in and have worked really hard. And then, when I teed it up at the Cognizant Classic, the old Honda Classic at PGA National, the Players Championship, and the Valspar Championship, those terms, I'm teeing it up in those thinking, I'm going to go out and, my mindset's always the same. I'm going to go give my best effort on every shot. But if I do that well and my game comes together, I think I can win these weeks. And, I played really well at PGA National. I was in great position through 3 rounds at the Players Championship. And then, I obviously went into Sunday at the Valspar in the second to last group, 2 shots behind the leaders, and then played a really steady, beautiful round of golf and won the tournament. You asked if it's validating. I think it's validating of the process that I've been through and the steps that I've taken to try to take my game to another level. Very validating of that. Is it validating in terms of what I project outward to, people who are watching who I don't know. And I've genuinely gotten to the point where I care, but I don't care what, I don't look at, when I was early in my career, I looked at Twitter comments and it mattered to me that, people liked that I won and care. I don't look at it anymore. I don't care.
Is that the armor that you used? You got a sponsor's exemption into the AT&T Pebble Beach, and maybe you had yourself insulated enough that you didn't hear the clamoring of critics that were like, "Wow, a board member gets an exemption." But you finished 14th that week, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he heard some of the chirping and was went out there and proved to him that you deserved it, that you can play very, very well. Was any of that the case, or did you just go out there and do your thing as you just described it, and you finished 14th because you're good enough to finish 14th?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, I don't need extra motivation by any means. I'm every PGA Tour event motivates me enough, but I did. I mean, I actually didn't hear the clattering until a reporter asked me about it on Tuesday of tournament week. And then that for me was so like, it's so easy for me to respond to that kind of criticism because it's like, I I felt so comfortable asking the tournament at Pebble Beach for a sponsored exemption because of the fact that I'll say it. I feel like that the 9 times prior to this year when I play that tournament, which is every year I've been on tour, the amateur that I've been paired with has had a great experience playing with me. I totally embrace that format. It's amazing for me to play in the Pro-Am format because I actually have someone to root for. Whereas, in a normal PGA Tour event, you're out there and it's like, if you're having a bad day or a bad week, your week is shot. But like I've played that event before and played really poorly, but helped an amateur in my group have the time of his or her life. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in. And so I don't feel the least bit bad in asking for an exemption to that tournament because that's what that tournament has always been about. And that's a role that I play well and a role that I enjoy. So it's just not that hard for me anymore. Like I used to care so much because there's critics out there for everything all the time. There are people out there that are chirping this week that Webb Simpson has a sponsored exemption into an event where he has done, like, he and his wife have created a school in Charlotte for families that need a school. Like they have done so much in this community that like I don't care if he had never won a tournament on the PGA Tour, much less having won a Players Championship, a U.S. Open, and however many he has. Like he deserved a spot in this tournament for what he means to this community. And people are going to chirp, and that's just okay with me now. Like I want to make sure. I got a great piece of advice from my mentor and really dear friend Don Colleran. When the pandemic started and no one knew what to do, no one knew anything. He was still in his role. He was the CEO of FedEx Express, and I was talking to him about like PGA Tour stuff, and he said to me, Peter, you have to understand that when things like this happen, it's not the first time we've ever had an experience like this. He goes, but the playbook goes out the window. There is no playbook. So you just have to make doing the right thing your North Star. And those are words that like have resonated so strongly with me. Cause I'm like, if you make doing the right thing your North Star, you can handle the criticism. You can handle what people say. And so that's sort of been something that I've tried to live by since he told me that.
Are you getting recognized more, or when you take off the bucket hat, do people have difficulty, knowing that it's you?
Yeah, as long as I'm in street clothes, I can still go anywhere and do anything I want for now. Which is like, I've joked over the years with my Pro-Am partners, and like the Wednesday Pro-Ams at tour events. I'm like, I found this really, really sweet spot where for like 6, 7, 8 years in a row, I've kept my job on the PGA Tour, but I've not played well enough that anyone has ever heard of me. And so it's nice. Like it's actually nice. And like I said, I'm motivated now in this changing landscape. Like I really do. I want my kids to see me work hard and be great. So I am very motivated to do well. But it is super nice that like, even in my hometown, I mean, we'll occasionally see someone who knows who we are or something like, but we can go to Dos Bros, our little counter serve Mexican place that we like. Like we can go anywhere we want, and it's no one bothers us. Knows who I am. Knows who we are. It's great.
Have you had any skin problems in the past, skin cancer, what have you, as a professional player? Because obviously wearing a bucket hat like that is so important for so many of us. I have skin cancer, so I deal with the issues nonstop. Have you ever had anything like that? Was that part of the motivation?
My mom and my older sister have both. My sister had a melanoma, caught incredibly early. Just had to do a deep biopsy, and that was it. They didn't have to do any other treatment because they got it early enough and got it all. My mom had. I'm not actually familiar with the terminology, but she had like a squamous something that was like right on the tip of her nose. So she has a little divot out of her nose, which is just a constant reminder to me of why I wear the bucket hat, why I'm diligent with my sunscreen in the mornings. So the hat is very much a practical thing for me. Yes.
And it also is a very, very, very important and safe message for so many people because you're on that platform, you're on that stage, Peter.
Yeah.
I've asked you this question for well over a decade when we've had a chance to be together or talk. You, and even more so now as a multiple time winner and recent winner, it's even more acute. You are also your own brand. You've spoken multiple times already today that part of your motivation is to make your boys proud of you, to understand who you are and what you do. But you are still the Peter Malnati brand as a professional athlete. What do you want that brand to represent to the world?
Man, this is why I love talking to you, Matt, because you're good and you ask real questions. And I have a conversation with my son a lot. So Hatcher's 4.5. I've probably been talking to him about this for about a year already now. So I started talking to him when he was 3.5 because he like adults, like teenagers, like me, like all of us, he does things that are just to get attention. He's been doing that since he was 2, but I'm 37 and I still do that. Do things just to get attention. So this is a conversation that I've tried to have with him a lot that I want to embody in my own life because it's something that, even at, like I said, even as an adult who's been on this earth for 37 years, I forget this. So I talked to him a lot about this idea of contentment and how I think in life, a lot of us would all say, like, what's the secret to life? What's the goal of life? What are you after in life? And we all say, just, happiness. I want, happiness for my family, happiness for people I care about, happiness for myself. But I think that misses the mark because happiness is always fleeting. Like there's situations in life where you're not supposed to be happy. Like, on a small scale, your kid gets a tummy bug. That's a miserable experience for everyone involved. Most of all the kid, but like miserable experience. You're not supposed to be happy. Bigger scale, like stupid stuff happens. Like kids that are innocent and have done everything right get cancer and go through chemo and miserable treatments and sometimes have bad outcomes. And it's like the absolute worst. Like no way you're supposed to be happy. So when we think happiness is what we're striving for, that's wrong. What we're after is contentment. And you can be absolutely miserable, but still feel content. Like contentment means that you did your best, that you gave what you wanted to give to the situation, that you are proud of who you are at the end of the day. You're proud of who you are and what you've done. And so I talked to my son about that and like, does he understand what I'm saying yet? No, of course not. But I'm having that conversation for me as much as I'm having it for him. Because it's just something that I need a reminder of all the time is that we're not in this, we're not in this because we know if we do what's right, we'll always get the outcome that we want. We're in this because we should always do what's right. And so this like striving for contentment is really, I think it's, in a world where there are eyeballs on me, not many, by the way. I'm very aware of that still the majority of golf fans don't even know who I am, much less like, the greater public. But when there are eyeballs on me, that is like, that's the brand, that's the image that I want to project is like, a guy who finds contentment in doing the right things, in doing my best, in contributing what I can in every situation. And that's something that like I said, doesn't mean happiness. It doesn't mean you get the outcome you want every time, but it does mean when you put your head on your pillow at night, you can feel good about who you are. And that's just something that you can't put a price on that.
You chose a leadership position on the tour, and you happen to have chosen it at a time that's probably the most turbulent in the history of the men's professional game. The only time I can go back to that would even closely compare would be the late 1960s when the PGA Tour essentially was formed out of the Players Division from the PGA of America, and that split took place. So my first question to you is why? Why did you assume this role, and has it been what you expected of it?
I'll answer in reverse order there. It has not been what I expected of it from a time commitment. the timetable of becoming a player director on the PGA Tour's board is kind of drawn out. You serve a year in a role that is mostly, it might be a little like preparatory, but it's mostly just a name. They call it, so you get elected and they call you the chairman of the PAC, of our player advisory committee. So I was elected to be the chairman of the PAC in January of 22, which means I was asking people to vote for me late summer and fall of 2021. But I didn't actually take a seat on the board until January 1 of 2023. So I was asking people to vote for me and sort of campaigning, if you will, late 21 for a seat that I took starting in 2023. So I didn't have the foresight to really see where this was all going. But what I did have was this really, really powerful understanding of the fact that good governance should involve broad perspectives. And, it was just important to me that someone who was curious and open-minded and had the perspective of being kind of a grinder, strive to keep your card, sort of hang on the bottom end of the PGA Tour, was at least in the meetings to be there. So that was why I ran for that seat. I did not have any idea that we were going to be involved in like geopolitics and, essentially an existential fight for the future of professional golf. Didn't know that's what I was getting myself into. Having, the timing of things, having this all coincide with the birth of my second child and having, two boys that are young and full of energy, and also a career that is really, really difficult, where I've spent 7 of my 10 years on the PGA Tour as very much a fringe player, scraping to keep my card. That was part of the reason I ran to be on the board, because I thought it was important to have that perspective. But now that I'm on the board and the time commitment that it brings, it definitely, if I had it all to do over again, knowing everything I know now, I would still do it the same way. I would ask for the votes. I would campaign. I would try to be on the board. But man, it doesn't mean it's been easy. It's been really, really hard and challenging, but also very meaningful and impactful. So, that's a long-winded way to say it hasn't been what I expected, but the reasons I wanted to be on the board have proven to be really important for me, and it makes it really meaningful that I'm there.
It's also impactful. It's also meaningful when a member of the board describes what you're engaged in as an existential fight for the future of professional golf. Is it that? Are we at an edge here of a risk of some way? And if so, what is that risk?
I don't think there's risk of like professional golf at the highest level, going away. That's not really it. It's just a matter of, what will professional golf continue to look like? What will the landscape be like? This model that we have on the PGA Tour that has been so, I'll use the word impactful again in a different sense here. It's been so impactful on the communities where we play. Because the tour, when Dean Beeman was building the modern business of the PGA Tour, with he wrote into the fabric of it that it is at its core an organization to benefit local communities, charities. That model still resonates really strongly with our core fan base, I feel like. And that's just something as we go down this path, and right now we're in this little bubble where the value of professional golf has been incredibly inflated, mostly artificially. But also there is tremendous value, and we have star power on the PGA Tour right now that is just through the roof. The talent level on the PGA Tour, the pipeline to feed the PGA Tour. Look at Ludwig and what he has done. There are, and I don't want to say this as if they're all the same, because they're not. But but there's a pipeline of Ludwigs that are coming to the PGA Tour. Like there's no real, in my mind, I used the word, I did say existential threat to the, or existential,
Fight.
as I said it as if there's an existential threat to the future of professional golf. It's not that there's a threat. It's just, how do we maintain a model that we all feel proud of, that benefits the players, the communities, most importantly, the fans who make us, give us the platform to have an opportunity. There's like trying to get all those pieces right in a time right now where the value of a professional golfer is probably, in some ways, like the on-course value has inflated to an unrealistic level. Like, how do we continue to just build this and feed and serve all the constituents, from the players to the fans to the local communities to the organizations that host these events? Like how do we do that all and figure all that out? That's the part that just is going to be, I think, we're grappling with a lot of it right now,
Sure.
and we're in the middle of it, and we don't necessarily have a clear path forward in terms of what the model looks like. Are we partnering with the PIF? Are we not partnering with the PIF? Like, we don't have clarity around that yet, and I don't think there's like a risk of us losing. There's not a risk of us losing men's professional golf as something that is, incredibly entertaining for fans around the world, and incredibly, powerful to do good. I just want to make sure we keep that as part of the PGA Tour's mission, and keep the PGA Tour as the premier ultimate place for, professional golfers to ply their trade.
Less than a minute left here, Peter, before I have to take a break. But can an argument been made that signature events, increased purses, et cetera, hasn't you as a PGA Tour player and others benefited from the existence of LIV?
No question right now. The question is, have we done this in a way that is sustainable, and can we continue to give the players, the product of the PGA Tour, the stars of the PGA Tour? I point to myself, meaning the stars, like the other players like me who are better than me. Can we continue to give them what they want and feel they deserve, while also carrying on the brand of the PGA Tour in a way that is positively impacting, all the constituents around us?
Fairways of Life show. Peter Malnati has been our guest in today's show. It's been amazing. His insights are incredible. That's the reason why we had him on the show, so that you guys could get to know, hopefully, the Peter Malnati that we have always known, a deep, deep thinker, a person who truly cares. Peter, you have aligned yourself with companies, and I know that when you do it, it's not simply about the money. It's part of what you do as a professional athlete, but it's also about aligning with your own personal philosophies. Who are you sponsored by? Who do you represent?
Yeah, so you can see a couple of them right here on my shirt, which is great. These have been core sponsors for me since, honestly, I was, when I was a senior in college, playing pretty well. I got a representative from Titleist reached out to me. And since then, they've been incredibly loyal to me. So I think I may have used a different 3-wood for maybe 2 events my rookie year. And with the exception of that, I've played 14 Titleist clubs, every event I've ever played on tour. FootJoy, also under the Acushnet umbrella. They've been incredibly awesome to me and my whole family. So I think, from head to toe, they make the most comfortable, best golf gear. So I've been lucky to do that. I have a little sleeve logo here that's, oh no, wrong sleeve. The sleeve logo here that's Ewing Outdoor Supply. It's total, it started as an irrigation company, but now it's total landscape, hardscape company. They are really impactful in the golf space now, but they also do residential. And the reason I aligned with Ewing, their CEO is a guy named Doug York, but it's a family business. Doug married, I think, into the Ewing family, if I remember this right. But it's a family business that's been passed down just through generations of the Ewing family, and I get to do a cool little tent visit with them when I'm in Scottsdale, because that's where their headquarters is. And it's just an amazing company, and so that's great. And then I'm really lucky. On the belly of my bag, I have a club back home in Knoxville. I've always had a course called Holston Hills on the belly of my bag, because Holston Hills, when I was first getting started, gave me privileges for free. It's an amazing club. And I now have a course on my bag called Fox Den. Fox Den Country Club in Knoxville. They've given my family a membership. They treat us like gold. My little boy can come out and, he can hit 30 balls in 4 minutes on the range, because he just goes rapid fire. Hatcher does, and so that's really great. And I was telling Dom this, your producer, my splurge purchase after the win. I'm not into cars. I'm not into stuff in general. I don't need a lot of stuff. But I want things that make my life better for my family. And so my splurge purchase, I bought a jet card with a company called Fly Alliance. And so on weeks when my family travels with me and we can't get a direct flight on a commercial airline, we'll be able to use Fly Alliance to fly us. And that's something that'll be really important for my family and I. And so, yeah, it's great. And I've had a lot of good sponsors over the years that have helped me too, a ton that aren't with me anymore. But like Kind Snacks was great to me. And Lou Malnati's Pizza in Chicago, which was so organic, was so cool. So really, really, really thankful for all that, all the support I've gotten.
It's awesome, Peter. We are out of time, but we appreciate the time that you have given us. I love what you represent, love who you are, my friend. We wish you the very, very best, as you know, always.